Amazing. What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys and gals and guys? Um, for the very people that want to comment, or for the very people that want to tune into the show, I will welcome and congratulate you. Hold on one second. I just have to adjust something real quick. Hold on one second. And I'll be loving you always until the rain. Something, something. All right. What's going on, guys and gals and guys? Let me adjust this real quick. You guys can be able to see me. Amazing. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. Uh, I know I am. I'm having an amazing day, an amazing Sunday. This happens to be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Not too hot, not too cool. Perfect spring weather, type of weather we were looking forward to in May. And I was able to relax for the most part. And now I'm here with you guys. Well, I'm here giving a live broadcast. And the reason why I chose to give out a live broadcast is because of the specific current events that are happening today. All right. Particularly with mass shootings. Um, mass shootings has been a big thing. We have about four high profile mass shootings. That's not including the fifth one. We had a mass shooting in Arkansas, another one in Sacramento, another one in New York. Um, and I believe there was a mass shooting in Denver. I think that involved an Allahu Akbar person. And this one. So now, um, so actually, I want to say that there's about five mass shootings. Yeah. All right. And out of the five mass shootings, um, this latest mass shooting actually has to do with a non-black person and a non-Allahu Akbar person. This mass shooting was actually committed by, could you believe it? A white person. Oh my goodness. Amazing. It is amazing that a white person actually committed a mass shooting. So yesterday it was reported that 10 people were killed in a mass shooting in a supermarket in Buffalo, New York. It was committed by a white guy, an 18-year-old white male who supposedly is a well, let me make sure I'm in focus when I'm putting my quotes when I'm putting out my term, white supremacist. That's what they're stating. They're stating that he was a white supremacist and that he had plans on committing a mass shooting um to, I guess, shoot down anyone that wasn't of his color. So they finally got one. They finally got one. I'm sure you guys are wondering why I came up with the title of this live broadcast of "They Finally Got One." Well, here's why. All right. Um, time and time and time and time and time again. Um, the mainstream, the far left mainstream media outlets, aka the fake news mafia. You know, the CNN, MSDNC. Yes, I called them DNC. NBC, ABC, CBS, the New York Times, sorry, the Washington Post, the Huffington Post, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Los Angeles Times, and on and on and on and on and on. So many different media outlets have been trying to pinpoint um, white people as the focus of mass shootings. They've been trying and trying and trying, but they've struck out. The past 5 high-profile mass shootings were committed by non-whites, and when they were committed by non-whites, they got very little to no attention at all. Uh, the mass shooting, for instance, let's go through this article right here. Mass shooting in Denver. Supermarket. What we come up with. Here we are. Go over here. This is according to GMA. Okay, this is not it. Oh, this is not it. Hold on. This is talking about Buffalo. I don't know. News about mass shooting in Denver supermarket. Here we are. All right. Now I want you guys to take a look at the title right here. All right. 10 dead in mass shooting at supermarket, suspect arraigned. Oh, this is the Denver Post. Oh, sorry about that. We'll get back to that one. Mass in Arkansas car show. Ooh. Mass shootings. Ow, 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 ow. Don't want to see this. All right. It says 3 mass shootings in the U.S. over the Easter holiday weekend capped a monolith spate of gun violence that touched both big cities and small rural cities across the nation. Okay, I want to get to the purpose. Here we are. Wow. They must have taken the story off. Wow. Okay. Screw that. I'll just go along with what I know. So, there was a mass shooting in Arkansas about a few months back where 27 people were hurt and one person was killed. All right. When a black person opened fire at an open Arkansas car show. All right. Now, how much attention did that get from the fake news mafia like CNN? Did CNN even post anything about the Arkansas mass shooting? Absolutely not. All right. Did MSDNC post anything about the mass shooting? Absolutely not. Did NBC, did ABC, did CBS, did any of them post anything about the mass shooting? Absolutely not. And if they did, they only posted it maybe I mean, They probably covered it maybe for about a minute or two, but not enough to where everyone would be aware that there was even a mass shooting. I mean, the only reason why I was able to know that there was a mass shooting in Arkansas was because I believe it was posted on the New York Post. All right, 27 people were shot. One person was killed. Where was, where was the narrative of racial hatred? I mean, where was that narrative from from the fake news mafia? Not one single media outlet reported it in long length. All right. Then we have the situation in Sacramento. All right. Mass shooting, multiple people hurt, 6 people killed in a Sacramento mass shooting that involved the blacks. How much attention did that get? I mean, I think the most amount of attention that that story got was about a week. Where was the fake news mafia about those people that were affected during those mass shootings? Oh, I guess because as long as black people do it, then there's always an excuse to make for them, right? Because the blacks can never commit mass shootings, even though statistically the blacks have been known to commit mass shootings every single day. Just look at your typical inner city. There's mass shootings every single day. They just sweep it under the rug. But if you live there, you are drastically affected by it. Then we get to New York City. The New York City subway shooting that happened about a month ago. All right. As a matter of fact, let's get to that one. In fact, let's see. Car show. Yeah, because now they want to act as if mass shooting in New York. Here we are. This is Frank James. So Frank James was the guy that committed the mass shootings. So I'm gonna read it. So this is according to Yahoo News. Frank James, the public safety troll, accused of shooting up a New York City subway before leading police on a 30-hour manhunt last month that ended when he called the cops on himself, pleaded not guilty on Friday. This story was reported on, okay, May 13th, Friday the 13th. So Frank James, 62, has been indicted on 2 counts, including federal terrorism against a mass transit system. Federal terrorism. Hmm. Very, 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 very interesting that they call it federal terrorism and not well, I mean, I don't know why what he is not doing would be not considered a hate crime, considering that the people that were shot were also white people. Has been indicted on, but anyway, he's been indicted on 2 counts, including federal terrorism against a mass transit system for terrifying attack in a subway car in Sunset Park, Brooklyn on April 12th that injured at least 2 dozen people. 24 people were shot. Authorities say James, who was dressed in an orange reflective jacket and yellow hard hat, let off 2 smoke bombs and opened fire. He allegedly used a Glock 17 pistol bought in Ohio. and struck 10 people on the Manhattan bound N subway station, one of the worst attacks on public transit in decades. Others were hurt in the ensuing chaos. Miraculously, no one was killed. During his brief 20-minute arraignment in Brooklyn federal court on Friday, James sat very still at the defense table as Judge William Kuntz asked him if he understood the details of the indictment. Two U.S. court marshals sat behind James who were wearing a khaki prison jumpsuit and a blue mask below his nose. Pretty good, James responded at one point to a question about how he was doing before the judge asked him to detail his education, history, and competence to stand trial. As Kunt read his indictment, James followed along with a printed copy of his lone federal defender. When asked how he pleaded to the counts against him, James leaned into the microphone and clearly stated not guilty. Amazing. Yeah, that's amazing that he really thinks that he could get out of this. If convicted, James faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. Mia Eisner Gimberg, a federal defender of James, declined the Daily Beast request for comment outside court. While any definitive motive for a grisly attack remains unclear, prosecutors have noted James was prone to ugly, politically charged rants on social media, including one where he disparaged the New York City subway system and Mayor Eric Adams. He stated, quote, "What are you doing, brother? What's happening with this homeless situation?" James said in one video. "Every car I went to was loaded with homeless people. It's so bad I couldn't even stand." Prosecutors allege that after the incident, James fled the scene of the shooting but left behind a wealth of evidence. That includes a 9mm Glock, three extended capacity magazines, a backpack, a bag of fireworks and smoke canisters, a hatchet, a spray bottle of gasoline, and a credit card used to rent a U-Haul in Philadelphia. Cops say that he also left behind an orange jacket with reflective tape on the subway platform, a receipt in one of the pockets for a storage unit in Philadelphia, which became crucial to identifying him. Records from Lyft revealed that James visited the storage facility at approximately 6:17 p.m. on April 11, 2022, the day before the attack, the complaint states. Um, Investigators say they searched the unit, found a 9mm ammunition, a threaded 9mm pistol barrel that allowed for a silencer or suppressor to be attached, targets, and a 223 caliber ammunition, which is used with an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. See, I don't understand how this man believes that he can plead guilty. I mean, plead not guilty, and think that he can get away with defending this case when clearly he left a wealth of evidence that implicated him in the crime. Um, so all right, let's see. How long is this? Okay. All right. Did I say the apartment, an empty Glock? All right, at the apartment James rented for Philadelphia for 15 days, the complaint states that the investigators also found an empty magazine for a Glock handgun, a taser, a high capacity rifle magazine, and a blue smoke canister. Police say James rented a U-Haul in Philadelphia days prior to the incident with the same credit card. The vehicle was found in Brooklyn, about 5 miles from the scene of the shooting. Once investigators established James' identity, they dug into his history. NYPD Chief of Detectives James Essick previously told reporters that he had 9 prior arrests in New York City between 1992 and 1998, including possession of burglary tools, criminal sex acts, thefts of services, and criminal tampering. He also has a criminal history in Wisconsin and New Jersey, where he has previously lived. None of the offenses were felonies, meaning that the 9mm Glock he allegedly used in the attack was obtained legally. The Columbus Police Department confirmed to the Daily Beast that bought the gun over the internet 11 years ago in Ohio. In order to comply with state laws, he had it sent to a local pawn shop, according to Jeff Brandt, an officer with the department's property recovery unit. As authorities dug into James' history, they came across multiple unhinged videos of his YouTube and Facebook in which he threatened violence and opined on his mental health struggles, the criminal complaint notes. In YouTube videos posted before the attack, James also made racist comments and spouted conspiracy theories. In one video, James said, and so to the message to me is I should have gotten a gun and start shooting mother effers. Amazing. Um, so Frank James, who clearly hated white people, um, who who clearly shot 24 people and and did it mainly while being racially motivated to do it. Yet the court will not charge him for a hate crime, even though he has made so-called racist comments. Even though we know there's no such thing as racism, it's really a battle between good and evil. I mean, but he clearly did this out of hate, so that the hate crime should have also stuck along with this as well. And I think if you add on the hate crime charge, then if convicted, he should be able to spend the rest of his life in prison without no possibility of parole. Um, it's amazing um, that the very black guy can go out and make these type of and go out and make these hateful comments, and yet he won't be charged with a hate crime. Instead, he'll be charged with a federal terrorist attack against the public transit system. Talk about black privilege, right? And oh, and then there was another incident with Daryl Brooks in Wisconsin where he mowed down where he mowed down and killed 5 white people that were partaking in a Christmas parade. Daryl Brooks, how much coverage did he get? I think that I remember when CNN covered the story, CNN never really wanted to indicate that the suspect was black. They even went as far as saying that the car was the one that committed the crime. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. But it does. It really makes a lot of sense, especially when the person that was behind the wheel doesn't necessarily fit your narrative. But it makes a lot of sense to say that a car can start itself up and make a beeline and mow down and kill 5 people in a parade. That makes a lot of sense. All right. I mean, we do have self-driving cars, correct? Amazing. It's it's amazing, while at the same time it's very, very, very sad. But yes, this is the type of world that we're living in right now. All right. It's the type of world where identity politics plays um over logic and over what's real, because nobody ever wants to really pin down and pinpoint and solve real issues. They want to just feed around the issue so that it can be able to fulfill its political status quo, because everything now is so political now. Everything is so politically correct. Okay. Talk about the issue as long talk about the issue and how you can hurt a mass group of people as long as the and make it racially motivated as long as the act is committed by a white person. But if it's a black person, oh no, that person was just crazy, and black people suffered from 400 years of slavery and blah 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 blah. But Darrell Brooks, a person who hated the great white hope Donald Trump and who hated white people, was able to mow down and kill five black people. I mean, five white people, and he gets no coverage from CNN. Right? I mean, very no. He gets a what you would consider a a a fabricated or a gaslighted coverage of the situation. Wow. It must be amazing to be black, because if you're black and you commit a heinous crime, you will be protected by the fake news mafia. You are protected by all means. They will protect you all the way. They'll make every single excuse as of why you committed that act. Other than the fact that you just are an evil person, you have hatred in your heart. It's amazing, folks. It is amazing stuff. Let me tell you, it is very amazing. So now, so now, the fake news mafia finally got one. They finally got one. I mean, they have been hoping for this for a long time, because they honestly have been missing out. They've been losing out. All right, a total of four high profile mass shootings. All right, talked about the one in Arkansas, the one in Sacramento, the one in New York City, um, another one in Denver, and that was actually committed by an Allahu Akbar person. All right, four mass shootings, right? All committed by non-whites. And the fake news mafia was like, can we get a break? Come on. We want to paint the narrative that it's that white people are behind mass shootings. It's not black people, it's the white supremacists. You know, it's the ones that have established systemic racism. They are the ones that are behind the mass shootings. Come on, can we get a break here? Well, guess what? They just did. Yesterday, they got a major break. A major break when it was shown that evil has reared its ugly head, and an angry young white male walked into a supermarket while live streaming and gunned down 10 people. I would consider that the 10 people are presumed black. Gunned down and killed 10 people. And now the fake news mafia got exactly what they wanted. You probably, I mean, you can only imagine how the boardroom was in the fake news mafia boardroom when they realized that they finally have a story, that they can stretch out at least for the next 3 weeks, and I would even go as far as saying for a whole year. They finally have a story that they can that you know what I mean, where they can finally stick it to the white man. Yes. See, we told you, all right? I mean, we went 0 for 4. We went 0 for 4, but we finally got one. Yes. So now you're gonna have CNN, MSDNC, NBC, ABC, CBS. the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Huffington Post, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Los Angeles Times, because this is a national story. So this is a story that all of the what's the word I'm looking for? Um that all of the major publications are going to publish. Believe me, mark my word, they finally have something to stick to stick to, so that they can finally be able to control and point the narrative that mass shootings are committed by angry, socially inept white people. Because remember, it's only the white supremacists that can commit mass shootings. And any mass shootings that's committed by the blacks is just swept under the rug. But remember, this is the same fake news mafia that are considered the thought police. They want to make you they want to control how you think. They don't want you to think for yourselves. They want to control the narrative and make you a subject of how you should think. All right? They want to be the puppet masters and make you people the very puppets that they will love to control as far as thinking goes. Okay? So now they have something to go on. All right? An angry 18-year-old white male walks into a supermarket while live streaming and guns down 10 people. All right? The fake news mafia was enjoyed by this. They were screaming to the Raptors, "Thank you! Finally, we have a story." It's not as if they really care about the very victims that were mowed down. And also, by the way, may God have mercy on the victims that were affected by this, along with their families. Um, I know we should definitely pray for the families. I know I will. Obviously, this is a heinous attack, and any attack that is motivated by hate, um, will always will always be disavowed. Always. To me, it doesn't matter who commits it, whether you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, Allahu Akbar. It doesn't matter to me. Any hatred, any act that was motivated by hate is immediately disavowed. And and so and so and I say that because I know it's going to seem as if I'm not I'm not um or that I'm trying to make light of the matter, which is absolutely 100% untrue. The people that are affected definitely should, we should definitely keep them in our prayers. That's for sure. But this proves now that the fake news mafia are going to just run along with this story, and they're going to stretch this story out. Trust me, one thing you will know about the fake news mafia, you will hear about this story at least for the next month. And again, I would even go as far as a year. And then they will constantly continue to keep coming back and forth to this story, but you're going to hear this story at least for the next month. That is for sure. You will definitely hear about this for the next month, and then they will do a follow up on this very story. Unlike the other mass shooting that was committed a month ago in New York City, um, unlike the suspect that was responsible for that, the fake news mafia will definitely keep up with this story, this developing story that happened. Unlike the the suspect who committed the mass shootings in New York City, because you don't even hear about him anymore. Oh yes, they finally have a culprit, the white man. Finally, finally, the fake news mafia finally has one. They finally have it. they finally can say that white people are unstable and that white people are committing tremendous mass shootings, all right? Even though they have one, but they actually have one. They are rejoicing up and down. They're going to pretend as if they care about the very victims that were shot, even though they really can care less. They care more about the ratings. So of course they're going to sensationalize the whole thing by trying to dig into this white man's past. Um, and they said prior to him committing these shootings, he was posting things online that were deemed that would label him as a quote unquote white supremacist. You know, I want everyone to see when I'm making my gesturing, white supremacist. The man probably even wasn't no such thing as white supremacy. Number one, there's no such thing at all. All right. If you have enough hatred to commit the type of act that Frank James committed a month ago at a New York City subway, then the very person that also has that same type of hate can commit the very act, that same very act anywhere. They just see an opportunity where there are a group of people and where there's very little way out. They know that they can go out and they can gun down a bunch of people and they'll never see it coming. All right. And anyone is capable of doing that. I don't care who you are. But obviously, now the whole story is going to go towards how this person was a hatred white person and how we should be afraid of white people and how white people will are on the hunt again. And all this is going to do is divide our country even more. But that's what the fake news mafia loves to do. They love to exploit people's feelings despite the grave danger of doing so, um, all in the name of ratings. They love to exploit people's feelings just for ratings. They do it for their best benefit because ratings equals dollars. It's amazing, folks. So it's amazing how things work. It is amazing. But obviously this is something that now is going to be broadcast all throughout. A white man walks in while live streaming and guns down 10 people, and presumably black people. Um, and I believe in one of the in I guess in one of the news outlets where they interviewed a black person. The black person was up there crying about, oh, this is like Emmett Till all over again. Oh, this is like this is like James Byrd that was dragged by a bunch of hating white folks. Oh my goodness. We don't feel safe in America. White people are attacking us. Oh, it's the white man. Um, keep in mind that in 2020, 7,000 black people were killed at the hands of other blacks. There were more black people killed in 1 year than black people killed in the entire existence of the Ku Klux Klan, which was established in the early 1800s. All right, in which a total of maybe about 37 to 3,800 blacks were killed at the hands of the Ku Klux Klan. But while in 1 year, 7,000 black people were exterminated by other black people. Where was his concern there for that? Keep in mind also, all right, um, 500 white people were killed by blacks, whereas 250 whites killed blacks. So black people killed white people at twice the rate that white people were killing blacks. Black people, let me repeat that again. Black people killed white people at twice the rate that white people were killing blacks. But somehow, some way, we're supposed to be afraid of white people. Oh, it's white supremacy. No, um, it's black hatred that is killing the blacks. But notice also too. These are the very, very black people who claim that it's white supremacy and white people are attacking blacks, and yet black people attack more people outside of their race than anyone else. All right. I mean, the crime, the hate crime that the blacks are committing among Asians are up. I mean, you can see it. Random attacks on New York City of the blacks attacking Asians, young, old, black people. You never ever see white people attacking Asians. No, you see the blacks doing it because black people hate everyone, including themselves. All right. I mean, look at the homicide rate. All right. Black people are responsible for 50% of the homicides committed in America. Major number, especially when you consider that black people only make up 11% of the US population, yet they are responsible for 50% of the homicides committed in America. Well, more than blacks. But nobody wants to have a conversation about that, do they? Of course not. Of course not. You know why? Because that doesn't fit the narrative. Who cares? Right? All that matters and what matters right now and what's trending right now is being politically correct and assuming that white people are the ones that are committing all the problems. Yet they can't back up, yet they cannot statistically back up that white people are the ones that are committing all the crimes in America. They can't. They can't do it. No statistical data, none, to state that white people are the ones committing a vast majority of hate crimes in America. Can't do it. All right? Cannot do it. Meanwhile, look at the city of Philadelphia, the so-called city of brotherly love. In 2020, the homicide rate in Philadelphia was 499. 2021, it was at 556. 556. That's 57 more homicides than what you had a year ago. And now 2022, let's see. Let's take a look. 2022. Let's look at the homicide rate. I need one. It looks like up until March 11th, there were 100 homicides. Obviously, that has changed. Homicides as of May 15th, 2022. I like how you can just look up these type of things. March 10th, April 18th, March 11th, March 12th. Here we are. Now keep in mind this is CBS that's reporting this, so you know they're part of the fake news mafia. Of course, they report the man that was ambushed and killed while pumping gas. And keep in mind, in you know the blacks in Philadelphia are out of control because not only are they just blatantly killing people, but they're blatantly killing people in broad daylight. They're doing it while I mean they're doing this in front of an audience. I mean it's amazing. Um, I also happen to find out that yeah, this is amazing. I mean, so many people are just getting killed in broad daylight. Now, it's been March 11th. Hold on. I'm gonna find I gotta find out how many homicides. Philadelphia police. See if I can find it on there. Last 7 days. Can you go to crime stats? Last 7 days. Draw a box around my neighborhood. I don't know why is this so hard? It shouldn't be hard at all. All right, I don't have time for this. Philadelphia homicide rate in 2022. I don't know why they're not updating the homicide rate. Now there were 100 homicides up until March 11th, but we're 2 months in. I mean, 559 homicides in 2021. Focuses on gun violence. Notice that they won't speak about the homicide rates. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to do my own homework. I'll just go to the police station, and the police station will be able to Philadelphia police station. They'll be able to give me the homicide rate. I noticed that the fake news mafia doesn't really want to give you the actual statistics. Yeah, see, Philadelphia nears 100 homicides, but this was updated back in March. It's 2 months ago. They've yet to update the amount of homicides since then. Let me see. I'm sorry, guys. I do recognize that we are live, but I have to try to get the most updated news that I can get. Yeah, I don't really care about this. Like, what is this? All right, so it looks like so far that the most updated information we can get is that there were 100 homicides up until March 12th. Obviously, that number has increased since then. So I'm not even going to engage in this. Let's look at murders. Where's the cursor? What is going on? What's going on? What's going on? Can't find the cursor anywhere now. All right, sorry guys. Okay, so I mean that's what it is. I will get the actual number, and when I get the actual number, then I'll make a video about it, and then give you an update on the homicide. I mean, on the actual amount of homicides that were committed in the city of Philadelphia. But what I want to say was, I mean, there were just just this weekend there were 9 shootings and 3 deaths. 9 shootings and 3 deaths. All right. Um, three and I believe 3 of those shootings were well, I believe 2 of those shootings were done in broad daylight. That means that it was done in front of an audience. And the very people that were and I'm sure the very people who committed the act are a part of the Black Lives Matter movement. And the very people who witnessed it are part of the Black Lives Matter movement. And they'll scream Black Lives Matter all day until a black person kills another black person. Then they have to protect the perpetrator and sweep the victim under the rug. Because remember, Black Lives Matter only matters when white people, when they perceive that white people are verbally attacking them. But when black people actually physically attack other blacks, oh, their lives don't necessarily matter. As a matter of fact, the very Black Lives Matter supporters will actually do everything that they can to protect the perpetrator who committed the violent act on the black victim. They'll protect the black perpetrator, but will completely step over the black victim. Amazing stuff. But anyway, I don't. Without getting backtracked, yes, they finally got one. The fake news mafia finally have the type of news that they can break out and stretch for a long period of time. They'll probably stretch out as long as they did with Kyle Rittenhouse. And Kyle Rittenhouse was a white male um who righteously attacked 2 other Black Lives Matter supporters who happened to be white, but because they were Black Lives Matter supporters, he had to get the raw end of the deal. He was heavily scrutinized for that. I mean, they try to say that he committed murder. They try to make the story up that he just happened to hunt down these white people when it actually when the truth of the matter was the 2 white men chased him down. And Kyle Rittenhouse, despite the fact that he was armed with a gun, he tried to get away from them. And then somehow he fell, and then the two and then the 2 white thugs tried to wrestle the very gun that Kyle Rittenhouse had on him. They tried they tried to wrestle away from his hand and then try to shoot him. And who knows what would have happened had they were able to get their hands on the very gun that Kyle Rittenhouse had. So Kyle Rittenhouse did what he was supposed to do. He killed them both. Ri and and he was right about killing both of those white thugs. But because of that, he was scrutinized by the public. He was a white supremacist, um, a white hate monger, and blah 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 by the fake news mafia. And Kyle Rittenhouse literally had to deal with that for a whole year. It's amazing. Yeah, but they stretched that story out for a long period of time. And now they're going to stretch this story out, all because a white guy who has been painted the narrative of being the enemy, of being a part of white supremacy, and being the blame of being a of his so-called ancestors. All right. I want you guys to see me when I'm gesturing. Ancestors were slave owners, even though slave owners existed in all races, not just white, not just the whites, the blacks, the Indians, the Asians. Anyone that could afford to be a slave owner was a slave owner. But of course, they don't want to touch on that. That doesn't matter. I guess they never heard of a person called Anthony Johnson, the very first black slave owner in America. Oh, but I wonder why he's not a part of Black History Month. But don't worry, he was a part of the conservatives' point of view Black History Month. You should check that collage out, by the way. The conservatives' point of view Black History Month. It was amazing. I thought I did a pretty good job considering that and it was an inaugural. It was the inaugural start of the conservatives' point of view Black History Month. And I'm looking forward to White History Month in July. Check me out as I will be conducting White History Month. I have a couple surprises. Yeah, have a couple surprises. So be on the lookout for that. But yes, yes, but this is what it is. White people will forever be scrutinized now by this identity politics that the fake news mafia wants to play. So I'm urging all white people to get over your anger. Don't be like the angry blacks. All right. As a matter of fact, I'm encouraging all people to get over their anger. Go and forgive your mother so that you can return to the Father. And once you forgive your mother, then that's when you can be able to overcome your anger. Because because the best way for you to overcome your anger is to overcome the woman. All right. You have to overcome the womanly state because it's women that are usually angry. And anger comes from emotions. And we all know that women are very emotional. Women are emotional creatures because um they were wired that way to be emotional and irrational. And that's all because Eve disobeyed God. And because of that, women are now placed in this emotional state. So any man that was raised just by a woman, you will have the nature of the very person that, believe it or not, that you hate until you overcome her. And the best way to overcome that anger and that emotion is to overcome your mother. So you have to go and forgive your mother. All right. Go and forgive your mother and then return to the Father. Because men were made by God. And women and the woman was made by the man and should and really the woman was created by man and really should be a part of God, but because she obeyed Eve, but because Eve disobeyed God and decided to follow Satan as her God, the woman has to overcome the nature of Satan before she can return to the Father as well. Overcome your anger, and that way you can overcome all evil things. Well, with that being said, this is the conservative. I'm signing out. Have a blessed day, guys.